Welcome back to this very special episode of the Career Meets World podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about identity and the importance of identity, especially as it relates to somebody who is of immigrant descent. So, whether you're a first or second gen in your country, or you moved here as an immigrant at an early age, like myself, or if you moved here in later stages of life, this episode really is to talk about the importance of leaning into your identity and understanding that you have the power to showcase your strengths, your talents, your wisdom through your own lens. But the only way to truly do that is by going within and understanding who you truly are. And it took me a really long time to get comfortable with myself in my own skin and to understand that I'm different, and that's okay. We're all obviously different, but for me, I had a very specific pathway to the US, and my experiences afforded me many things, but at the same time, mentally, I struggled with a lot of different challenges. So I want to spend some time today to really expose this, to really hopefully help even just one human being understand that if you're going through something like this, if you're struggling with some sort of mental adversity that's preventing you from getting to the next level, I want you to know that you're not alone. And the purpose of Career Meets World, the purpose of this entire community that I'm fostering and I'm working with so many different people to grow is specifically to help somebody like yourself. So it's really, really important to understand everyone's journey. So I want to be raw and authentic with you today and really share with you my own journey and understand that I was actually born in a country that literally does not exist today. It's a country called the USSR, and I was specifically born in Ukraine, which was a republic of the former Soviet Union. And I was born in the late 80s when the country was falling apart. Its economy was going down the drain. The Cold War was coming to an end. And especially for my family being of Jewish descent, it was extremely hard to live in that country because even though this was post World War II, about 40, 50 years afterwards, there's still a lot of anti Semitism, and it was extremely prevalent in the country. The truth is, most Jewish people actually were identified as Jewish in their passport. They were not identified as Ukrainian or Estonian or Kazakh or Russian. They were just labeled as Jewish. And obviously, that doesn't feel good when you're persecuted in your own country. Many, many people can empathize with that in very different ways, especially in the United States. The last year has proven that we have a need and a focus to really figure out not just how to create diversity and inclusion groups throughout companies and conversations, but really how to create integration and create a fabric that welcomes a lot of people and allows them to work together without thinking about where they're from or who they are or what they believe. It's really about creating impactful meaning for the world through whatever product or service a company might be selling and whatever mission that they might have, even if it's at a nonprofit. So for my family, it was extremely hard when the Soviet Union was falling apart, and they made a conscious decision to move to Israel, a land that literally welcomes Jewish people and is a home for Jewish people. And for them, it was a period of time when they sought out more opportunity, they wanted more stability. And the truth is, when we actually moved to Israel, the first Persian Gulf War started. There were rockets dropping left and right within Israel, even though this was a war between the United States, Kuwait, and Iraq. This was actually reflective on what was happening in Israel because the US is allied with the country of Israel. So imagine spending your entire life living in some sort of persecution, living in a very difficult environment, and then still coming to a country, and then the first thing you experience is war. So this was a really, really difficult time for my parents. And the truth is, they spent time integrating into society. They learned the language. I personally spoke Hebrew when I first started talking, and I don't speak the language anymore today, but it was my first language. And I spent 3 years in Israel. And again, phase three, as I would call it for my life, was really about moving to the US when I was about 4.5 years old. We moved and immigrated to Chicago. Imagine moving from Israel, this warm, sunny place in late March to arriving in Chicago with 3 feet of snow on the ground, not speaking the language, having $200 in your wallet, and not knowing exactly what your life is going to look like. That's what it means to be an immigrant, to pick everything up and just leave the place you're living for something better, for some hope, for opportunity, for a better life for your family, for the next generation after that. That is the immigrant dream. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing with Career Meets World today and empowering so many different immigrants from all over to really come together and have the tools, the access, the resources, the guidance, the support, the inclusivity to go out and integrate, to go out and produce, to go out and do more, because these are things that my parents didn't necessarily have. They had to figure and claw their way through society. And to fast forward through it all, my parents have basically figured out and have done extremely hard work throughout their life to achieve tremendous wealth, to achieve opportunity, to very, very gratefully put me through college. And I didn't necessarily have to struggle financially. We obviously didn't have everything growing up. My parents lived well within their means. They taught me the importance of budgeting. They taught me the importance of understanding how to manage finances so that you're never put in a position where you can't pay the bills, you can't pay the rent. I grew up in a family that valued education, like most immigrants who basically tell their kids, you're either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. So I naturally went down the engineering route. Again, what I always like to share with people is that I didn't have any support in terms of what I needed to do to be successful in any part of K through 12, short of just working hard and getting good grades. That's all I knew. I didn't know how to get into college. I didn't know how to take the SATs. I didn't know how to apply. In fact, I actually had a 4.3 GPA in high school, and I didn't get into any premier university. So I applied to about 10 schools and I got into one state school and I was not content. I was not going to settle because I didn't work that hard to just settle for state school. And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with state schools now that I know a lot more. But at that time, I wanted something more prestigious. And I ultimately ended up appealing. And despite having a high school English teacher tell me that there is a 1% chance of getting into any university on an appeal, I was very, very fortunate. I typed up one letter and I had no idea how this got through, but this one page letter got me into UC Davis. And what that taught me, it wasn't so much about the fact that I'm qualified for a premier school, but that no matter when I would fall down in my life again, I'm always going to figure out how to rebound, because you can work extremely hard for years. I literally worked hard for 12 years in K through 12 to go to a prestigious school and ultimately didn't get what I want initially. So this type of story manifests and happens for a lot of people. And what I want you to know is that when you struggle, whether it be in your career, whether you first move here, whether you're going to school, and you have experienced some sort of setback, that setback isn't actually a setback. It's really a redirection. It's really a redirection into something greater and better. And for me, it was an opportunity to go to an incredible school that afforded me a ton of different opportunities where I had to figure out a lot of different things. But what happened when I got to college is I felt like I parachuted in. I felt like I showed up to literally a party where I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know where the kitchen sink was. I didn't know where the utensils were. I didn't know where the bathroom was. And I had to figure everything out. And it felt really uncomfortable. And the truth is, that's how many, many immigrants feel. That's how most people feel who grow up with immigrant parents, because they're taught a very different mindset. So again, I kind of stumbled my way through college. I was fortunate to have great mentors, great teachers. I sought out a lot of people to support me because I knew that I didn't know a lot and we're all constantly learning. But in that process, I knew that I was capable of networking. I knew that I was capable of meeting more people and building strong and meaningful, long-standing relationships. And that's something that I value today, is building long-standing relationships. So the immigrant journey is hard. because we all experience different things. And at the end of the day, we all want some level of success. We're all given an opportunity. We have access to resources, but we don't always know how to stitch those resources together or really which ones are the best. And what I'm doing is really spending time with so many people of different walks of life. It doesn't matter to me if you're from Ethiopia, from Russia, from India, from Brazil, from Thailand, from Canada. I want to learn from you. I want to understand what your experience is, what your journey is, what you had gone through growing up, either in your country, either through the immigration process, what your parents experienced. These are really critical stories to share. And the last thing I really want to highlight is why identity matters, because I shared all of that with you so you can see how I looked at the world. And it really took me a long time to understand who I am, how I identify, what really value do I want to instill in not just myself, but really in the future generation that I bring into this world. And after a lot of thoughts and a lot of painful moments and a lot of rejection and a lot of redirections in my life, what I learned is that I identify as both American, as Russian, and most importantly, as a Jewish human being who really wants to support and empower as many people as possible. And that's why in this special episode, I really want to share with you that over the next month, over about the next 4 to 6 weeks, I am intentionally building out an inclusive community for like minded, ambitious immigrants who are ready to take their career, their personal life to the next level by giving them tools, resources, most importantly, community, and a safe home to talk and converse and to get group coaching and to learn from industry experts and to really have the support that I truthfully never felt like I had. So I'm super excited to launch this. This is happening at the mid to late April stages. And I invite everyone to obviously go to Career Meets World and follow along this building process because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to hear as much feedback from people as possible so we can build the best possible platform for all of you. And you can get everything you need to be successful so you don't have to go through those painful moments of figuring out who you are and questioning whether or not you are worthy of success, whether or not you're capable of success. I guarantee you are. It's just the community, it's just the resources, it's just the personalized GPS system that you need to help steer you in the right direction. So go to careermeetsworld.com, quickly jump on the wait list. I'll be sending out updates about what we're building. And really, this is part one. This is part of the journey that I hope you come along with me and really start building out this important message to a lot of different immigrants that you're not alone. You have a safe home now, and that's going to be with the Thriving Together community that's going to be launching by Career Meets World. If you have any questions, if you have thoughts, if you want to see certain things built in, let me know. Send me a DM on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, wherever you hang out. Happy to chat, happy to listen to what you're talking about and thinking. I want you to remember that your identity is everything. How you see yourself in the world, not how people see you, but how you see yourself is the most critical part of being successful in life. Because once you're okay with who you are, once you know how to operate at a next level, you're going to be ultra successful. You're going to be much happier. You're going to experience more joy. You're going to have more abundance in your life. And that's all I want for you. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's special episode. This is Edward Gorbis. Have a beautiful day.